My neighbor said my porch light kept her up. I changed the bulb to a dimmer one. Weeks later, I noticed all my security lights disabled. She claimed she hadn't noticed. That night, someone tried to break in. The police found the wiring cut cleanly, and her son's fingerprints were on. I bought my house in Huntsville, Alabama, in 2018 after my divorce. I wanted a clean break, somewhere quiet where nobody knew me. It's a small brick house on a quiet street. Most of my neighbors are older, folks who've lived here for years. I thought I got lucky. I live alone, and I like my privacy. I work long hours, so I keep the place well lit. Motion lights, porch light, side floodlights, a few solar cameras. Nothing crazy, just basic home security. It made me feel safe, especially being on my own. About 6 months in, a woman named Deborah came by. She lived a couple doors down. Short, red hair, strong perfume. She brought banana bread and said, "Welcome to the neighborhood," with a tight smile. Her son Caleb was around 25, lived with her. He didn't talk much. Every time I saw him, he had his hoodie up, hands in his pockets. The kind of guy you don't make eye contact with too long. At first, I didn't have any problems with them. I'd wave, Deborah would wave back. Caleb didn't. Then one night, she knocked on my door. This was maybe November, getting darker earlier. I just turned on the porch light and was about to heat up leftovers when I heard the knock. Deborah stood there with a polite smile, but her voice was sharp. "Sorry to bother you," she said, "but your porch light's really bright. It shines right through my bedroom window. Makes it hard to sleep." Her house wasn't even directly across from mine, it was off to the side, angled. I didn't argue. I figured maybe it was hitting her window weird. I said, "All right. I'll swap it for a dimmer bulb." She smiled again, but it didn't feel genuine. I'd appreciate that. So I did. Ordered a soft glow LED bulb and installed it the next day. It was noticeably dimmer. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. About 3 weeks later, I noticed something weird. I got home late, around 7 p.m., and my motion light by the side yard didn't come on. I thought maybe the bulb had blown. I went out to check. The bulb was fine. But the wire had been yanked loose from the wall. Clean, no fray. Looked like someone had pulled it deliberately. I checked the light by the back gate. Same thing. Then I checked the garage corner, where I had a small camera tucked under the eave. The wires were cut. Not chewed by an animal, not weather damaged, cut clean. That's when the pit formed in my stomach. I called the cops. They sent a patrol car. The officer walked around with me, looked at the wires, and wrote a report. He said it was probably vandalism, maybe some kids messing around. I didn't believe that. Whoever did it knew what they were doing. And they weren't in a hurry. They disabled 3 lights, and nobody saw anything. The next morning, I saw Deborah at the mailbox. I mentioned the incident casually, something like, "Hey, did you notice anything weird the other night? Someone cut my lights." She blinked then smiled. "Oh, really? I hadn't noticed. But I did see it was a lot darker over there. Honestly, I sleep better without that spotlight of yours." She said it like a joke, but there was something off about it. The way she smiled. The way she walked off before I could respond. That day, I ordered new hidden cameras. Battery operated, motion activated. I didn't want wires anymore. I tucked them under the eaves, behind vents, in the birdhouse. Didn't tell a soul. 3 nights later, around 3:40 a.m., I heard something. A quiet creak, my back gate. I was instantly awake. I grabbed the bat I keep next to the bed. I stood by the window, trying not to breathe too loud. Then I heard it. The back doorknob rattled. Slow. Quiet. Like they were testing it. Then a soft scraping. Like they were trying something metal in the lock. I stayed frozen. My heart was pounding so hard it was all I could hear. Then it stopped. 10 minutes passed. I didn't move. Finally, I heard the gate creak again. Then silence. I waited until sunrise before checking the footage. And there he was. Caleb. Clear as day. Hoodie up, gloves on. Walking through my side yard, heading straight to the fuse box. Then to the back door. He looked up, right into the hidden camera over the vent. I paused it. Got a full shot of his face. I called the cops again. This time, I had evidence. They sent 2 officers. I showed them the footage, and they took it seriously. They dusted for prints and got a partial match, thumbprint on a cut wire. A week later, Caleb was arrested. They found wire cutters in Deborah's garage. Gloves, too. He didn't say a word when they cuffed him. Deborah showed up at my door the next evening. She looked tired. No makeup. Eyes red. Please, she said. Don't press charges. He didn't mean anything. He's just confused. He thought you were watching him. I stared at her. You think that justifies him trying to break into my house? He wasn't trying to hurt you, she whispered. He just gets these ideas. I told her to leave. She begged. I shut the door in her face. The next morning, I found my car tires slashed. All 4. I didn't have footage of it. I'd aimed the cameras at the house, not the driveway. But I knew. I called the cops again. They couldn't do much without proof. Filed another report. Suggested I park in the garage from now on. I knew then this wasn't over. I started digging. Public records, old court filings, anything with her name. Turns out Deborah had been cited years ago for running a daycare without a license, in her basement. One of the complaints said the kids were left alone while she rested upstairs. Then I found a neighbor from her old neighborhood, a woman named Trish. She said Caleb had a history, vandalism, theft, even a fight at school where he cracked a kid's nose. Deborah covered for him every time. That's when I knew I needed more than just a police report. I needed to ruin her the right way. I started documenting everything. Every weird look. Every time she threw garbage in my bin. Every time I saw Caleb lurking near the corner of my yard. I logged it all. I also contacted a lawyer. I wanted to press charges. And I wanted to sue. But I didn't rush it. I waited for the next move. Because I knew they'd slip again. Weeks went by after Caleb's arrest, but things didn't calm down. At first, it was quiet. Too quiet. Deborah stopped waving at the mailbox. She didn't look at me at all. But I could feel it. Her house felt like it was watching me. Her blinds were always cracked. I'd catch a glimpse of her silhouette sometimes, just standing there. Then strange things started happening. One morning, I found my garden dug up. Not just trampled, dug. Rows of carrots torn out, soil all over the walkway. Like someone had taken a shovel and hacked at the beds on purpose. Another night, my trash can disappeared. Just gone. I found it 3 blocks over the next day, full of dead leaves and cigarette butts. I knew she was behind it, but she never left any proof. Then came the letters. They started showing up in my mailbox, no return address. Inside were handwritten notes in shaky cursive. Things like, "You're not safe here. Everyone sees you for what you are. Maybe it's time to move." Creepy, but not enough for the police to act on. I filed the reports anyway. Around that time, I noticed someone had filed an anonymous complaint with the city about me violating noise ordinances with my backyard lights. A city inspector came out and found nothing wrong. But that told me someone was trying to make trouble. I was still gathering evidence. My lawyer told me to document everything. And I did. Then one afternoon I caught her. I had just installed a small camera behind my front bush, low to the ground. I aimed it at the sidewalk. It wasn't super obvious, but if you looked hard enough, you could see it. That day, I was working from home when the camera sent me a ping, motion detected. I opened the app. There was Deborah, standing at the edge of my lawn, holding a gallon jug. She looked around, then bent down and poured the liquid all over the grass. Later, I walked out and smelled it, bleach. Strong and sour. I checked the footage. Clear as day. Took it to my lawyer. He added it to the growing file. I was building a case, and it was getting stronger. But I still didn't feel safe. Every creak in the house made me jump. Every time the motion lights came on, I'd freeze. I added more cameras. Hired a private security company to do a sweep. Even put up monitored 24/7 signs. Then one day, Caleb got out on bail. I didn't know right away. I found out when I saw him, in my backyard. I'd just come home from work. Pulled into the driveway and hit the remote for the garage door. As it opened, I caught movement from the corner of my eye. I jumped out of the car and ran to the side yard. There he was, hood up, staring straight at one of my cameras. He took off as soon as he saw me. I called 911. They showed up fast, but he was gone. This time, the cops took it more seriously. Turns out, part of his bail conditions was that he wasn't allowed near my property. He'd violated that. He got picked up later that night. But something was off. He didn't act scared. He didn't even look at me when they cuffed him. He just smiled. That smile stayed with me. 2 nights later, I woke up to an alert on my phone, camera movement at the side fence. I opened the app. Nothing. Just darkness. I switched to the next camera. Same thing. All black. Checked another. Black again. Then it hit me, they were down. All of them. I grabbed a flashlight and stepped out onto the porch. Everything was dark. Dead quiet. No motion lights, no hum from the cameras. Like someone had flipped a switch. Then I heard it, a faint rustling from the back gate. I stepped off the porch, bat in one hand, flashlight in the other. I reached the corner of the house and swung the beam toward the gate. It was open. And on the ground just past it was a glove. Black leather, the kind Caleb wore. I backed away, heart in my throat. Went inside and called the cops again. They arrived within minutes, but whoever was there was long gone. This time, they found something new, fresh footprints in the mud near the fence. And near the back of the property, behind the shed, they found something buried. A bundle of zip ties. A pocket knife. A rag. I felt sick. They bagged it all as evidence. When I asked if it could be Caleb again, the cop just said, "It's being investigated." I didn't sleep at all that night. The next morning, I went to my lawyer and asked him one thing. "Can I sue her, not just him?" He said yes. Especially since I had footage of her vandalizing my property, and proof she'd allowed her son to violate the restraining order. So I did. We filed a civil suit against Deborah for harassment, property damage, emotional distress, and for aiding and enabling her son. That lawsuit was just the beginning. Because what I uncovered next made my blood run cold. And changed everything. I wish I could say the lawsuit was the final nail, but it wasn't. The deeper I got into this, the more I realized that Deborah and Caleb weren't just messed up, they were dangerous. And they weren't going to stop until someone made them. The civil suit went ahead. Deborah was served papers, and she lost it. I could hear her screaming through her front door when the process server handed her the envelope. Not even trying to hide it. That night, I got another letter. But this one was different. Inside was a photo. It was of me. Sitting in my living room. Through the window. It had been taken from outside my house. No note. No return address. Just that picture. I lost it. I took the photo straight to my lawyer and the police. They added it to the case, but it wasn't enough to prove who took it. Still, everyone knew who it pointed to. I decided to get revenge the only way I knew would stick, with evidence, with facts, and with pressure. And with time. While the lawsuit moved forward, I started reaching out to people from Deborah's past. People from her old neighborhood. Her church. Her old job. She used to work front desk at a pediatric clinic until she got fired, and I found out why. Someone tipped me off that her firing wasn't for budget cuts, like she claimed. It was because she'd accessed patient records without permission, looking up the parents of kids who had accused Caleb of bullying. That was big. That was criminal. So I got the records. My lawyer subpoenaed the clinic for her HR file and internal reports. Took some work, but we got it. It showed clear violations of HIPAA laws and multiple written complaints. She just walked away before they could press charges. We sent that file to the judge. Around that same time, the court finally ruled on the lawsuit. Deborah was found guilty on all counts. The judge didn't hold back. She was ordered to pay me $26,700 in damages. Plus court fees. That was on top of the $18,000 from the original settlement. She cried in court. Claimed she was broke. Said she couldn't possibly pay. The judge didn't care. Told her to sell her house if she had to. That house, her precious little castle she'd lived in for 15 years. Went on the market a month later. But the final blow hadn't landed yet. 1 week after she listed her house, I got a knock on my door. It was a detective. He told me Caleb had been arrested again. This time, for trying to break into a different house. Same pattern, lights cut, camera lines snipped, back door pried. But the house belonged to a 72-year-old woman. She was home. She had a panic button and pressed it right away. When the police caught Caleb, he had a duffel bag with him, inside. Duct tape, zip ties, a knife, and another phone with hundreds of photos of different homes in the area. Including mine. Including me. Some taken through windows. Some from behind fences. Some at night. Deborah claimed she had no idea that he'd been mentally unstable. She tried to play the innocent mom card again. But this time, no one believed her. The state pressed full charges. And I pushed for something more. I went public. I took my story, with all the records, footage, photos, and legal documents, and sent it to a local investigative reporter. He ran a full piece on it. It aired on a Friday night. Local news, 10 p.m. slot. Title: Mother, Son, and the Neighborhood Stalking Case You Won't Believe. They interviewed me, blurred my face. Played footage of Caleb sneaking through my yard. Played Deborah pouring bleach on my grass. Showed the house listings, the lawsuits, the court documents, everything. It blew up. Deborah's reputation? Gone. Her house sale? Fell through. Her phone? Flooded with calls. Even people in her own church turned their backs on her. She moved out within weeks, left in the middle of the night. I saw the U-Haul at 2 a.m., didn't even say goodbye to anyone. But the best part. Caleb got sentenced to 7 years in prison. Because of the weapons, the stalking, the prior charges, the breaking and entering, he was done. And Deborah? Turns out, helping someone violate a restraining order and hiding evidence didn't sit well with the DA. She got charged too. 2 years probation and a $5,000 fine. She filed for bankruptcy the next month. I didn't say a word. Didn't gloat. Didn't post about it. I just started sleeping again. And every night now, my house glows bright. Cameras up. Lights on. No one dares come near. They tried to make me afraid. Now they're gone. And I'm still here.